Okay everybody, it's Quincy1911 again. I have not cast anything in forever, and I felt like doing something because I'm bored, I guess. So I found this old scrim of what is now Domain of Pain, was previously Returners, and at this point was not named the new Testy team, I guess is really the best way to put it, against what is also not yet named GJ2012, who of course went on to compete in DreamHack. Both of these teams are currently in the Diamond Division of Han Tour, and obviously it's a huge deal because Testy's back. And he is all heroes. That is something that I know. Obviously Enzo Emperor, fairly well-known names. I believe Gavin Phoenix is Fitzgay. I don't know if So Tilted is Cheese Helmet, or if it's Jeppins, or if it's somebody else entirely, but yeah, whatever. Okay, so let's get straight into it then. Blind Bands, Dark Lady and Mage Bane from Legion, Draconis and Tundra from Hellborn, so lots of carries there. Really now Silhouette's the biggest carry left on the board. I guess you can call Forsaken Archer a pretty strong one as well, but you know, this is really typical of Gary Johnson. They like mid-game victories that are not super into hard carries. And really they want to push you about 20-30 minutes and try to win the game before a farmer can get really maxed out, and that makes kind of a lot of sense considering my man Testy, who's really one of my favorite players, is probably one of the best racers in Han today, so trying to go toe-to-toe with him with a hard carry, probably not a great idea, just thinking. And we're flying past the bands into the locks. Ophelia from the Legion, Glacius and Parasite from Hellborn, Pebbles and Revenant from Legion, and Silhouette from Hellborn again. Obviously, Glacius and Parasite both hard counter that Ophelia pick, who I expect to be the first guy out of the lock pool, because Ophelia is that good, and Z-Freak is one of the best jungle players, I think, right up there with Chessie. Of course, Chessie's Ophelia is legendary, but, you know, Z-Freak plays a lot of really good jungle heroes. Ophelia, Keeper of the Forest, very, very strong player. So, you know, give him some credit that Emperor is respecting that Ophelia play and choosing to ban Glacius and Parasite in order to counter that hero. Pebbles and Revenant. Obviously, Revenant's probably more control ban from Swindle. I seriously doubt that anybody's going to even consider picking him up. Pebbles, of course, is a very strong hero, great ganker, and Silhouette's really the last hard carry left. Yeah, there's some other semi-carries. Moon Queen saw a resurgence in DreamHack. That's not really happened since then or before, and we'll see if that carries on. Same thing with Zephyr, although this is obvious. This match took place months before DreamHack, so it's not really relevant. I don't even know why I'm talking about it. Anyway, Blind Bands, Polywog Priest, Torture, Nymphora, Aluna, lots of support heroes. Torture's semi-carry, but he's usually played in the support role. Nymphora and Aluna typically considered two of the stronger, if not the strongest, support heroes. Nymphora in particular is a great combination with Pebbles, of course, with the mana and the port allowing him to gank like crazy. So they will not be able to pick up Nymphora and then go into that Pebbles after Swindle gets Ophelia for his brother. Bubbles, I somehow missed that Emperor banned Bubbles. Of course, great Suicide Laner. If assuming that So Tilted is Jeppins, then he will be playing their Suicide, and he's a pretty decent Bubbles. Skyzo's Bubbles probably is better. I've seen him play that hero more often than Jeppins. Of course, Jeppins is very well known for playing Kinesis, and we'll see if that is Jeppins, because I'm still not sure. But Skyzo plays a great Bubbles, and I think Skyzo is probably one of the more underrated players around here as well. He's very consistent, you know, never really has a terrible game, doesn't make too many poor decisions, and just generally plays solidly and well. He's not, you know, Moon or anything with his crazy awesome picks or play or anything like that, but he's just a reliable player, and I don't think he gets enough credit for that. Fade, first pick from Swindle Melons. Fantastic hero, great ganker, gives you tons of map vision with that ultimate, really allows you to control the map because you can just kind of sit in that invis and terrify people like, oh my god, Fade's coming after me. And of course you're playing a ganker role, and people do play her in a suicide role, which I don't like it that much. Obviously I think there's better support heroes out there. Sorry, did I say suicide? She played in a support role. There are better support heroes out there, and really melee support doesn't do a lot for me because you can't harass. Her stun is not really that easy to land, obviously. I mean, you can just click on somebody, but it's possible to dodge it, especially if you're trying to use the invis to do some extra damage.
Forsaken Archer.
Forsaken Archer followed up from Emperor. Of course, that's one of the carries left that's not Silhouette, so presumably they won't be grabbing Silhouette at Lockpool, although who knows, maybe they will. Well, really both teams, sorry, not both teams, but Emperor needs to grab a jungler here. Warbeast is still available.
Engineer.
Keeper of the Forest is still available. Cthulhu is still available, and he's going to pick Cthulhu because it's Emperor. Of course, Wild Soul is still available. Completely missed that, but Swindle Melons follows the Engineer pick with a Wild Soul. Of course, Wild Soul is an amazing hero. Using that Mock just basically means he never has to put himself in danger. He destroys towers with the Demolish ability on his bear, and it's just impossible to kill him because he's like, I'm going to sit back here and do a whole bunch of damage to my bear, and good luck trying to kill me because I'm way in the back. Tempest falls up. Of course, that's probably... I would really hope that Tempest is going to play the jungle and Wild Soul play the Suicide, because Tempest as a Suicide hero is okay because he gets the deny, but as a jungle hero he works quite well, and Wild Soul's a much better Suicide hero than Tempest, and Wild Soul does not jungle very well, so I hope that's the lanes that they end up picking, because really that makes a lot more sense to me. Engineer on top of Forsaken from Emperor, kind of skipped over that a little bit, but that makes some sense. Those ultimates stack fairly nicely. His energy field is annoying as hell to deal with if it's placed correctly. Of course, if it's placed incorrectly, it doesn't matter, or if you attack it, it doesn't matter. Spider Mines are kind of useless, but that Keg Stun can be incredibly valuable if you do it right, and there's the Cthulhu Peg, just like I was talking about. He's probably going to be a jungler. He could be a Suicide lane Cthulhu, but it's kind of useless. And Glacius is actually the first pick out of Lockpool, which makes no sense to me, because even though there are two counters to Ophelia in there, really, Emperor should grab Ophelia right here, because that makes way more sense than... Ophelia Parasite actually would make a ton of sense. It would give them 3 junglers, theoretically, but they could Suicide Cthulhu, put Oath in the jungle, and...
Pebbles.
Okay, that makes no sense.
Parasite.
That's fine. Alright, Emperor. You're gonna lose. I don't really know what to do with that, because Cthulhu is a better jungler than he is a Suicide laner. Parasite does not Suicide. And so he's gonna have to jungle, which is fine, because Parasite's a great jungler, and he's a great Ophelia counter, and they're gonna take Ophelia here. As Beacon says, if Swindle loses, I don't know what to say. Hellborn team does have potential, though. Yeah, I mean, they could do something interesting, but it's kind of an amalgam. They really don't know what they want to do here. Forsaken Archer is not the strongest carry, and they probably, they clearly could obviously have gotten Silhouette out of that Lockpool, although, you know, Legion had the first pick, but once they took Wild Soul, they should have been like, okay, Silhouette's going to be... I guess they took Forsaken Archer, but that's why they shouldn't have taken Forsaken Archer. I don't know. I don't like this drafting from Emperor at all. Prized also, that's what he's occasionally referred to, so I will call him Emperor here because that's what he's tagged up as. But it doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense. Ophelia is probably the best jungler in the game. They left her in the lock pool. If Silhouette's the best carry in the game, they left her in the lock pool, and now actually Oath gets left in the lock pool entirely. I suppose they had already had Tempest for jungler, so they didn't really need Oath, but I mean, that makes plenty of sense from Swindle. Like in short lane, Suicide, Wild Soul, have Tempest in the jungle, fade mid with Glacius, and, you know, everything will work out great. On the Hellborn side, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I suppose you're going to short lane Forsaken, put Cthulhu and Engineer in the middle. No, Pebbles Engineer, that makes more sense. Solo short Forsaken on Tessie, and Suicide Cthulhu, which, I mean, Cthulhu has a deny, which he actually can't use at level 1, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. There were stronger Suicide heroes out there, I think. And let's make sure that I'm actually controlling the screen and looking at things instead of just doing nothing. But this drafting from Emperor does not seem particularly great. NG's a strong support hero, but he's not the strongest. Pebbles is a very good hero. I have no problems with that pick. Forsaken is a strong hero, but she's not the best carry. Cthulhu, I know Bryce loves, and I don't have auto skip pause on it, so let's just kind of hope that I hit it close. Okay, yeah, that's close enough. I mean, I feels like there were much better heroes up to be picked that Emperor could have taken. I mean, Warby's got left open in the laning phase. That's probably a better hero in general than Parasite, and that would have left them open to take solo if they wanted to, if they wanted to, but they wouldn't have had to because Warbeast does carry fairly hard. And Bryce plays a great Warbeast, so I don't know. Go with that. Yeah, I think Spindle just outdrafted Emperor right here. It's simple as that, and I seriously question whether, you know, DOP or the Returners or Testes team or whatever you want to call them is going to be able to recover from this, because it's a very poor draft, and yeah, they might have the better skill team, but really drafting is so important. You know, MSI is a terrible example because Fly is, you know, they were a great technical team as well, but Fly is a genius. And that won them so many games, just picking the right heroes in the early stages. But Cthulhuphant is for some reason going to be in the middle lane, and Forsaken Archer is going to be Suicide, which that actually makes some sense if they assume that Silhouette was going to be a solo short lane, which obviously she should be. And you know, pitting carry against carry could go well, because I think that Testy's a better technical player than Keizu is. As good as Keizu is, and he is very good, you know, Testy's probably one of the best. I have some harass. Parasite can't do much against Tempest in the jungle, so it's good that they picked him out of the lock pool to counter that potential Oath, and he is a great jungler, but he's not going to be able to counter jungle Tempest like this. He just needs to go into the Hellborn jungle and help out Pebbles against this Wild Soul, because Pebbles is not going to win this lane. He's not, and this is a horrible decision, because now your Suicide Wild Soul is going to dominate your Snowball hero. Pebbles is going to get nothing, and then he's going to be completely useless from which to the game. I don't know if... I honestly don't know if Engine is a strong role, but they do have Glacius. Tag comes out, he's stunned, there's the Leech, and they're gonna pick up First Blood here, I imagine.
First of many.
So Enzo on that Parasite gets the First Blood. Good catch there. And obviously, you know, Engineer's a worthwhile support hero, but how much better is he really than, you know, I don't even know who's left there, but clearly Glacius was in the lock pool. He got picked up first. Tempest is a strong second support. Fake, who plays support, but she got picked up first. Yeah. I should just shut up, I think, about this draft, because I've already said enough. But anyway, as far as the laning phase goes, once again awfully concerned, because here's Pebbles, and he's going to get rooted actually right after the imprisonment, and then he goes and Siegfried picks up a kill. And this is really weird, because Siegfried's playing the Suicide Wild Soul. Parasite is running the Tempest here, and he's going to kill the Wild Hunter and be totally fine. But Swindle's playing the Jungle Tempest, which that's a hero he's played very often. But usually you see Siegfried in the jungle role, and I do prefer it a little bit. I think Skyzo, actually Keizu and Wild Soul make more sense, but well, whatever, it's fine. Sorry, sometimes I think out loud. Some of those thoughts are stupid. And obviously it's just me, so there's nobody to interrupt me, and oh my god, Wild Soul's gonna take a tower already. That is ridiculous. Like, the fact that he's able to pressure this tower this much at level 4, so he doesn't even have Demolish in his bear yet, it's just ludicrous. Right now his bear has Entanglement, he can take the cost after return. I mean, he's gonna hit level 5 probably pretty soon. He is, you know, he's pretty far up there in experience per minute, 307. And, oh, they're gonna catch Glacius over here, but they're also gonna do Parasite, and Parasite's gonna, no, next excellent infest in the very last minute, and he's gonna get away, and Glacius goes down to So Tilted, who's probably Jeppins. I'm not really sure, but yeah, keep chasing, you're not gonna catch him. In the meantime, Glacius is going to roll over to this middle lane and help Fade out, which makes some sense because she's already handily beating this Northland, as she really should. She has a much better stun. She has the call to take away his mana. And in my opinion, she's got a better attack animation. They both have hatchets, I assume, yeah. And Fade's already got a bottle. And no bottle on Cthulhu, so she should win the runes, and she's already won the lane, and she should continue to do so and get a great start and just wreck this Hellborn team because they're all pretty squishy, except for the elephant. But meh. On the bottom, you got really Engineer's support, I suppose, is more babysitting this Forsaken Archer than I gave him credit for. They are sitting right on top of a ward though, which is pretty funny. Trying to be all sneaky and it's completely useless. Pink is Rise. Yeah. Anyway, the lead's coming out onto Silhouette on top of the Forsaken Archer. Hex stun and down she goes. And that's a good game. That's what they gotta do because they're not gonna win this late game, so they've gotta make sure that they keep that hero down, but I mean, are they going to win this early game either? They've got Pebbles who can snowball like mad, but so can Fade. I guess Parasite has them for the mid-game victory. Just feels like Pebbles and Parasite is really redundant. It's a big problem here. Like, if you're going to take Parasite, really, I'd rather have Revenant. Like, Revenant's a pretty strong support hero. I know some people play him like a carry, but I do like him as a support hero. He's very good at, you know, helping out your carry, give them extra damage, a slowing ability, and visiting them to help them get away or giving them the de-armor attack. And that would have been a better pick for me than Pebbles, because then, you know, NG's not going to support. Parasite is really... Oh, it's a good deny actually up on the top from Pebbles. Faye, meanwhile, has his sight set on Engineer, but it's not going to work, and so he's going to waste his ultimate right there. But, you know, Parasite doesn't really work as a support hero, so NG's going to be playing hard support and be totally gimped. He actually, surprisingly, already has boots. It's probably mostly because that's Silhouette kill. But he's just going to have to ward the whole game and be completely useless. Meanwhile, Glacius is going to have some support from Tempest and possibly even Fade on the warding front, and he's going to be probably a lot more effective than Emperor is, and Emperor just going to get picked off by Fade continuously, and probably Wild Soul, who once he gets the Mock, is just going to chase Fade, Engineer down ridiculously fast. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of too bad, because I was really hoping that Testy's team would win, because like I said, I'm a huge fan of his, but I think that Emperor kind of screwed them here with this draft, and the lanes aren't helping too much either. If you put Forsaken in the short lane, Pebbles in the mid, he'll beat Fade, because he has a stronger attack, and then the Cthulhu's going to try to open up Fade, and that's not going to happen, because even though he pushed the creeps, I'm going to actually hit her to stun her. And that's actually a fun little ability that Cthulhu has, is if you get hit by the creeps, you get stunned as well. So that stun can last for a long time, because you get hit by the creeps and you stun, and then you get hit by the trample and you get stunned. So it's really a better skill than people give it credit for, but it's such a skill shot that it's probably not worth it to grab this hero, in my opinion. And if you're going to do it, he's a jungler. Like, you could blame Suicide because of the deny, which I do think works with the creeps. Yeah, level 1 ability can, but, you know, after that you can just deny that lane until the Kingdom Come, and Fade is now going to win this rune because she used the Blazing Shadows and get the high ground. Yeah, so Fade now wins the lane because she's gotten most of the last few runes. Cthulhu had an Invisor in a little while ago, but no bottle, so that's really not helping too much. There, and NG's actually there for support. Cthulhu has a charge, there that is. Fade makes trouble here, she doesn't have very visibility, but she does. She's fine. So, I mean, that was a strong gank there, and there's a good chance she wouldn't have gotten away if she didn't have invisibility, but she does, so... Really, you gotta bring Revelation Wards there if you're Fitsuke. You know, I mean, she's level 7, you gotta assume that invisibility is up, at least at Dust or something, you know.
The Legion had destroyed a Hellborn tower!
Goes down in bottom lane, with actually using his Tempest minions, not even Wild Soul, who has spent most of his time doing nothing. Well, sure it wasn't, but I don't know, I've been watching him Now they're going to push the secondary tower, which is going to be contested by the Hellborn team. Both Parasite, Engineer, and Pebbles are all running over here. But they need to open pretty soon because, yeah, there comes Parasite, and nice, an excellent Tempest ultimate, canceled pretty quickly by Engineer. Cooper Shambles in, toss onto the Silhouette, but she's going to get away due to the Glacial Blast from Tempest. Glacius is going to go down, and everyone in the Hellborn team is going to survive, but Silhouette lives, and the only pick-off they got was on Glacius, so is the Legion super happy about that exchange? Probably not. Will they take it? Yeah. I mean,
the Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
And once again, Wild Soul takes that tower because he's Wild Soul and he's got crazy pushing potential. But, you know, Legion's team took a chance on getting the secondary tower down in 10 minutes, and in return for their, you know, what do I want to say? Boldness, I guess. Can't believe it took me that long to say that word. All he lost is Glacius. I mean, that's not really, like, a bad risk. Like, if you said, okay, you might get a secondary tower, but you will lose Glacius, a lot of teams, screw it. Fuck Glacius. Yeah, imagine charge 5 new people in dungeon. Yeah. Sorry, reading chat. Anyway. I think really Legion has strong control of this game. We're 10 minutes in, they got 2,000 gold lead, 1,500 experience lead. Wild Soul sitting on 1,900 gold. Of course, he has nothing on himself. And his bear's got Ghost Marchers, so he can already be reasonably effective if he gets through. He can push towers down like mad. And he's going to have a mock in 12 to 14 minutes, pretty easily. Testy's sitting at 300 gold, which is not bad considering he's got no creep kill, or player kills, sorry. Creep kills, yeah, he's got no creep kills. He's actually got 23 creep kills, which is, compared to the Legion team, he's getting massively outfarmed. 61 on Tempest, so a lot of that's due to his ability to just kill with his elementals. But 33 on Silk, 39 on there, and Faye's gonna open Forsaken, and there goes the fall, and the ultimate, and Avoiding Shadows, and she's dead. So, nice pick from Fade. Of course, Testy needs to have a little more support there, I think, if he's going to hang out and farm, because you have no tower to fall back to, so you can get chased through your jungle pretty easily, and that's obviously one of the big advantages of taking the tower so early, is it really opens up that Hellborn jungle to gank from Fade. They can't safely farm there anymore, because there's nowhere, like, if you're in one of the, you know, this hard camp or this easy camp, or this medium camp, it takes you a ton of time to get back to like a safe place that you can sort of camp while nobody else can find you. It's interesting polling coming out from Engineer in 12 minutes. So, whatever you can do, I guess. But Tess is going to have a super hard time farming here, because on the bottom lane, obviously it's the long lane, so he's vulnerable there, and he has no set tower. There's no tower in the middle, there's no tower at the top. The Legion has just doubled their lead from the last minute when I just talked about it, up to 3,000 gold and 3,500 experience. And I don't know, man, this thing just kind of did not start well, and it's continued to slip away. It's just, their lanes, and they drafted didn't make a lot of sense, and their lanes made less sense. So I honestly don't get what's going on here from DoP or the returners or Testy's team. Yeah, that Sooner farm is going to be an issue for sure. 357 gold per minute on Swindle Melons. He's probably pretty close to his portal key. He's got 1,300 gold saved up, so he'll have that in a couple of minutes. And Z-Freak already is 400 gold away from his Sacred Relic, or his, sorry, Sword of the High. And I mean, that's going to be a 15-minute lock, like, pretty easy. So, and we haven't even talked about Silhouette, for that matter, who's farming 270 gold per minute, which is, you know, lower than her teammates, not Tempest and Wild Soul, but higher than anybody else, except for Parasite on the Legion.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
Get that secondary tower, as I'm just sitting there watching Testy farm, because why not? But hey, let's talk about Pebbles again, because remember when I said earlier, he's not going to be able to do anything about that Wild Soul, he's not going to be able to snowball. Oh, look at that. This thing is 1600 gold. He'll have his PK in probably about a minute, which is not bad. But at this point, you know, there's the Sacred Relic from the Sword of the High from Wild Soul. How many people can he kill right now? Let's see. Tempest has got 900 health, but Investments can't kill Tempest. Silhouette's got 948 health and Investments can't kill Silhouette. Fade's got 758 health and Investments can't kill Fade. Of course, he has Invis and stuns and stuff too. Glacius has 600 health and no Investments, can kill Silhouette. Wild Soul has 1400 health, no Investments, but as long as he stays in his bear form, you know, he's in his bear form right now, yeah, he's not going to get killed. So, you can kill Glacius a whole bunch, and like I said earlier, they don't really care if Glacius dies. Like, they prefer not to, but it's not a huge deal. They want to keep the farm up on Silhouette, Tempest, and Wild Soul in particular, and Fade, if they can. It's just, you know, they're not getting towers, they're not getting a lot of map control. They've been literally 0% building damage across the board. And I kind of hate to keep bagging on them like this, because, you know, they're a bunch of good players, and this, I believe, is the first time they played together, so, or one of the first at least, so it's not like, you know, they should be expected to do really, really well, but as somebody who's never played a competitive game, and really doesn't know what the hell he's talking about when he sits here and jaws for 25 minutes now about how, or 30 minutes, closer to, no, it's 3.5, so 25 minutes, about how stupid they are. I mean, it makes me feel a little better that pretty much everything I said in the beginning has essentially happened. Because, also got a block yet? Not quite. 1,000 gold. It didn't make any sense. I mean, Wild Soul versus Pebbles is a lane that Wild Soul will absolutely destroy. Like, Pebbles has no sense being in that lane. And they should have known that Wild Soul was going to be a suicide. I mean, he's a suicide hero, he can jungle, but like I said, this is a better jungler. So, you know, why... Damn it, Izaku. Probably not. I am Izaku player. Probably not Ja either. Anyway, these lanes made all the sense in the world, you know? Like, I called them from a mile away, and I didn't call Hellborn's lanes because they made no sense. Like, Suicide Forsaken Archer? What is that? Why would you do that? Whatever, I don't know, I feel bad, just because I've literally spent this entire thing just, like, bagging on the Hellborn team for being stupid and horrible, and I really have no right to call them that, because they're all a hell of a lot better than me. But, like I said, you know, it didn't make sense then, and now it's showing a 4,700 gold lead, 3,600 experience lead. And I guess I really hope that was a canceled thing from Engineer, but no, it wasn't. She actually used her Cakestone on nothing. Okay. Why not? Testes? Or what? Okay, she doesn't. 900 gold. So, Firebrand first, hopefully. I mean, at this point, pulling up all that, it's about the only thing that makes any sense. Meanwhile, I missed a kill down there, and so did Skyzo. So we'll skip back to probably way before. And wait, because this is where NG threw her keg. And then we're laughing at Testy for going over first, which I seriously doubt is actually happening. And there's some contention in the bottom room here, and Fade is not going to get it. Is going to get it, actually, so double damage. Pebbles has some world beat. They're jumping on top of the Parasite Face Hog, and the stun and toss takes out Fade. So that was a pretty good pick on this guy, though. Who, you know, I should say, for all of the weird lanes that came out from Hellborn, nobody on this Legion side really played lanes that they're accustomed to. Seafreak is the jungler, and Swindle is the main or suicide player, or second support really usually. Keizu is, you know, often a solo laner, but he's just the carry player in general. Skyzo usually plays suicide. So, and he went mid, obviously, so that's... The Legion are playing some strange lanes themselves. Mostly, I think, because they wanted to put Swindle on Tempest, so... They pretty much decided they're going to work their way around that. And I guess that necessitated Siegfried gone. Wild Soul because he probably knows how to play that hero. This was an occasional jump on because he does have a mock. So it had it for a while now. But I mean, at 19 minutes, that's a reasonably quick mock. It's not super fast, but he only has one hero kill. And, I mean, Tessa's farm just Stygian, that's what he wants, Shield Breaker. Percent. That's not bad. I mean, he's got, let's see, 1,000 health investments, so he's probably not going to be able to get good by Fade, although a lot of her damage is physical from that Burning Shadows. But at least he could probably get away. And Shield Breaker would be a very effective item, especially against that fat tank Wild Soul. And even against Squishies, you know. People often get Shield Breaker against tanks because it's so hard to kill them, but it's useful against carries too, because, you know, you can't do damage if you're dead. So that knee armor really helps you kill the enemy carry fast, and it does because enemy carries don't usually stack up on armor, while tanks do. So a Shield Breaker against a tank is usually just countering them.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
Yeah, the secondary tower and Hellborn and this tower right here. Fadelands, excellent Burning Shadow. Pebbles will go down. Enzo dies really quickly.
Piece of cake.
Pebbles is still alive. Double tap. KZ on Silhouette picks up a double tap as well. Yeah, big plays from Skyzo. I don't know what he was doing there, but they're gonna deny his tower. And really, that was a better play from Pebbles than anything else. Like, they really should have been able to kill him earlier than they did. And the fact that he managed to pick off Glacius as well as Skyzo in that stun shots combination was well done, but it doesn't seem to matter that much. Now 6K gold lead, 4,500 gold experience lead for the Legion team, and it doesn't, like I keep saying, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, that was maybe, that was probably one of the better engagements that Hellborn had. They lost Pebbles and they lost Parasite, but they picked up, no, that probably wasn't one. Especially because Keizu got double tap on Silhouette, so never mind, I'm being saying stupid things again. As Abyssal Skull gets picked up on Wild Soul, so yay for him. You know, they have Lifesteal for himself and for Fade, and of course lots of armor and regen because Abyssal Skull is an awesome item, and people don't get it enough, and I hate them for not doing that. But I pick up on Cthulhu, who has been really inactive over the last, 5 or 6 minutes, pretty much just farming it up. 226 GPM now, trailing his teammate Testy at 308, who is himself trailing 3 players on the Legion side, one of whom has eclipsed 400 gold per minute, and that is Siegfried on that time. Wild Soul, and he's just absolutely gonna wreck face with this Boo-Boo. There you go. Now it has Abyssal Skull, Ghost Marchers, and Hamaka Brilliance, let's see. Engineer has 700 health, so I mean, a couple of hits from Boo-Boo plus the Mock chasing him down for a while, and NG dies. Like, that's just gonna be horrible. I don't know, the Legion team has just had control of this game for the entire duration. Like, they've never really even felt uncomfortable. They had better gravity, better lane position. They're outplaying the Hellborn squad, who, for that matter, they brought it up, it's not really fast, but they weren't that well prepared. Like, that Tempest ultimate, for a team that had a Cthulhu stun, and a Parasite face hug, and an Engineer stun all right next, and Pebble stun for that matter, all right next to there, to that Tempest ultimate, ulti, a few of them were caught in it, but still. It took them forever to cancel that ulti. That's just not okay. Now that tower's gonna die because Wild Soul is demolishing his pair. Some canceling that goes on from Forsaken. His Fade goes down. Tries to pick up Parasite, but doesn't have Hextech coming out, and actually 2 on side is 3 players. Stun toss combination coming out from Pebble, very strong. And Temple's ultimate actually not into that much, as
the Legion had destroyed a Hellborn tower.
They pick off 4 heroes heroes on the Legion side. The Legion do get the tower, but that was a great stun from Cthulhu, hitting 3 heroes. And that massively turned the game around right there. Like, I mean, obviously we've got another 10 minutes in this replay counter. I was going, how's this game lost 10 more minutes? Yeah, that helps. Because now the Hellborn team actually have a 1600 experience lead. They're still defining goal, but they lost about 3k. Yeah. So, that brought them back in it. I still don't like their chances because they're down for the most part at this point. Gold matters more than experience, I think. Really, you'd rather have a level 20 silhouette with a shield breaker or a Geobane than a level 25 silhouette without that. Like, the stats don't matter as much. And yeah, silhouette's hitting that point where she's just all stats. One level of the ultimate, and then that she just has stats left. And she does pick up that challenge thing. Tempest farming that top lane right here, 355 gold per minute. He does not have his portal. He's not going portal, he's going Barrier Idol, which, and Energizer, which is fun. So he's looking really, I guess, to be more of that pushing style Tempest than an Initiator. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'd rather have the portal key because, I mean, you get him for his ult. Like, there's better pushers out there by far. You play Tempest because he has that ult. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me when people kind of ignore the ultimate in a way. I mean, obviously he's been using it quite often, but you need the PK to get positioning, as Pebbles actually picks up a shrunken head, so I don't know where the hell his farm went, but I guess he's 6-2 and 3. He's picked up a few hero kills. He has a shrunken head on top of that portal key, which is very nice. I might have preferred a Hellflower. It's, I believe, a little more expensive than a shrunken head, but you know, I think it's worth it. If you can jump somebody, perplex them, and then stun toss, like, that does so much damage, and that would probably allow him to combo pretty much anybody on this Legion team, except for Wild Soul in his Paraform, who is now at 1700 health plus instance. But, so that's 1100, yeah. With the Hellflower, he kills Syl. Like, that's probably pretty easy. Tempest, 1200, no vestments. Oh no, he has the Barrier Idol, sorry. Maybe not him, because of that Barrier Idol. Fade probably goes down too. Almost certainly goes down actually. So obviously Blaze just does. So no question about that. I'm just not watching nothing here. And it's double jump fade right in time. Catch that their base up coming out, and nice split up from Silhouette, and she gets away with the tree grapple. Oh god. That's kind of what I was talking about, because now actually Pebbles in a little bit of trouble. Cthulhu Hunt's gonna catch Tempest with a stun. Ultimate gonna only bring in Cthulhu Hunt as they kill him. Testing. They're trying to chase down this Tempest. If he had a portal key right now, he would absolutely live. I'm really sure that's Silhouette got her health back, but they're now going to clean up on this Hellborn team. Hellborn neutral rates. So that was obviously one play for the Legion team. So the 8k gold, 6k experience, and now he's going to get Conqueror. I'm just looking for reasons for this Hellborn team to do, I guess, but that looked ugly. Could not quite finish off Silhouette. Flower would have done it. He wouldn't have had enough gold, but Hellflower would have done it. And that would change quite completely because Silhouette coming back into there and being able to
has been slain.
Parasite and Cthulhu Fan, or at least do a lot of the damage on those guys. Made a huge difference. They couldn't chase down that Tempest. And really, you know, it's hard to like where the Hellborn team is trending at this point. Testy up picks off again, he's 1, 2, and 5, and he does have 355 gold per minute, which, that's Testy for you, 159 CK, CS. Second only to Tempest, who's getting a lot of benefit from that elemental ability. But he's that good a farmer that he doesn't need hero kills, but he does need hero kills. Like, you look at Silhouette, who's 3-1 and 3 at 402 gold per minute, you know, she's got fewer hero kills, at least creep kills. Sylvie's also spent a little less time dead and lost a little less gold to dying, but she's at 400 gold per minute versus Tessie's 363 because of those extra couple of hero kills. This is even having more assists, but I mean, getting kills on your carry, it sounds like a stupid thing to say because it kind of is, but that matters a whole lot, and he's not getting those kills, and he needs to. But it's impressive that he manages to run that well, even without hero kills. I don't think it's going to be enough. And I know I've been saying that all game, it's kind of useless now as Tempest ports to the bottom, and Cthulhufen ports back home. But, I mean, there's just so much more farm on this Legion team. You know, both Wild Soul and Solar are past the 400 gold per minute mark. Tempest is approaching it. Only Testy on that Forsaken Archer is above 300, although he's reasonably close to 400 himself. Not super close, but you know, you can see him getting there pretty quickly. But as Pebbles, as effective as he's been, he has been fairly effective actually getting 6-3. Just going 6-3 and 3 is not bad at all. He had a couple of very nice engagements. You know, that mid-tower, mid-legion tower and the mid-secondary Hellborn tower. But 280 gold per minute, I don't like the Shrunken Head this early. It makes sense as an item eventually, but you know, where's the magic damage on this team? It's that constant damage from Wild Soul, which is annoying, but you should not get Shrunken Head because of a mock. Actually, they run into a Fate Illusion there. Glacius's ult, I guess. Tempest's ult doesn't actually do that much damage, it's more about the hold. So much ports in the middle lane. It's the physical damage from Silhouette. It's going to do a whole lot of damage. You know, like we said before, Fate does some decent magical damage, but her Burning Shadows are physical, her auto attacks are physical, obviously. You know, the Bear's auto attacks are physical, obviously. And in the end, you almost always have to worry about physical damage more than magical damage because physical damage scales and magical damage usually doesn't. You know, you top her out as much magical damage as you're going to do, usually around, you know, 10 or 15 minutes when everybody's hit level 7 or 8 or 9 and max out their nukes. So it looks like they're trying to jump in engagement. Tempest has no problem sitting out there in the front lines and just attacking stuff. That portal key, of course. You do have a Bound Eye on Fade, which makes a ton of sense, of course, as an invisible hero. Of course, there's another one on Cthulhufen, so that they probably know that she's there. Glacial Blast coming out of Cthulhu. Egg stun response there. Egg Pebbles completely misses the stun, and that's going to be his death. Fade coming out, or also coming out from the second Archer, and Archer goes off there. Tempest ultimate immediately gets cancelled by the Parasite Face Lodge, so Misty goes down in a second. Cthulhufen hits the stun, hits a couple of guys. Parasite gets picked off, and there goes Cthulhufen.
Genocide defeat.
And there it is.
Legion wins.
So, yeah, I mean, the Legion team outplayed the Hellborn team, but it also
The Legion
mattered.
had
They really
destroyed
did
a
get
Hellborn
outdrafted,
tower.
and their lanes were much better coming out of the Legion. And I think that was pretty clear from the beginning that Legion just put themselves in such a better position in the early game that Hellborn, it almost didn't matter how good they were going to be technically.
A Hellborn
They just
barracks
kinda
has been
went
destroyed.
because they made some fundamental mistakes in the beginning, and that's when you can't make fundamental mistakes because they carry over to the rest of the game. Like, it's one thing to do something a little stupid at 30 minutes in when you've got 30 minutes of good
A
play
Hellborn
to fall
barracks
back
has been
on, but
destroyed.
you can't make those huge mistakes in 0 minutes. So I will be back casting game 2 of this little scrim, and we'll see how that turns out.